Well, I've hinted that this may be coming with how the end of the season ended with Rene's last game, and indeed, I said this would be coming after he retired, and since today is his 39th birthday, here we are. My list, which may be subjective, you guys may have different choices. My list of Pekka Rene's top 10 games of his career. Obviously, I said this list is totally subjective. You guys may have these games in a different order, or you may have some games that I didn't list that will probably be in my honorable mention that I will list later on in this video. But the way I rank these games is how they impacted Pekka Rene's career and the Nashville Predators franchise as a whole. Number 10. December 15th, 2005, Pekka Rene's first NHL start, Pekka Rene's first career NHL win. At the age of 23, a year and a half after being drafted by the Preds in a round that doesn't exist anymore, Pekka Rinne would win his first of his eventual 26 wins against a team that he would defeat the most, the Chicago Blackhawks. Wearing 35 in his first NHL start, a number that will soon hang in the Bridgestone Arena rafters, it was only right that Pekka would make 35 saves in his first NHL start in a 5-3 win against Chicago. Number 9. May 10th, 2021, 15 and a half years after his first NHL career start, 666 games started later after that first NHL start. If the hockey gods smiling down on him from above, Pekka Rinne would go out in style, shutting out the Carolina Hurricanes inside Bridgestone Arena. Pekka Rinne would make 30 saves in that game and would finish the game with a well-deserved final lap around Bridgestone Arena ice in front of Preds Nation. Number 8. February 22nd, 2018, in win 3 of a franchise record 10-game winning streak that still stands today, Pekka Rinne would record win 300 of his career, the 34th goalie in the NHL history to do so, in a 7-1 thumping of the San Jose Sharks inside Bridgestone Arena. It was the Preds' 37th victory of the season to that point, as Pekka would help the Preds franchise to go on to win its first President's Trophy title, and Pekka would rightly be rewarded with his first and only Vezina Trophy at the NHL Awards that following offseason. Number 7. April 16th, 2010, Pekka Rinne in his first career playoff start, just like in his first career regular season start, Pekka Rinne would win that game, and it would come against the same team that his first career regular season start came against hated foe, the Chicago Blackhawks. This time, unlike the regular season start, it would be inside the United Center in Chicago. After trailing 1-0 after 2 periods, the Preds would rally, and Pekka Rinne would make 25 saves in a 4-1 win to take a 1-0 series lead. It was the Preds' 5th time making the playoffs to that point, and though they would not ultimately win that series, the game would help put Pekka on the map and the rest of the series to come, as Pekka made it known, as the Preds franchise did as well, that they would be a force to reckon with for the decade to come. Number 6. April 30th, 2011, in their second round playoff series, on the verge of going down 2-0 against the Stanley Cup favorite, President's Trophy winning Vancouver Canucks, Ryan Suter would tie the game 1-1 with 67 seconds left to go in regulation, as Pekka Rinne would make a miracle save on a pass from Daniel Sedin to Kevin Bieksa in the first overtime, before eventually Matt Halischuk would score the double overtime winner along with the help of a 32 save performance by Pekka Rinne, as he would show all of Canada who didn't already know that the Preds were no longer a pushover in the NHL. Number 5. April 17th, 2017, the Nashville Predators had shocked the hockey world just 2 days prior, taking a 2-0 playoff series lead against the first seed overall in the Western Conference by winning the first 2 games in the United Center. But the fight for the Preds wasn't done yet, as the Preds found themselves trailing the heavily favored Blackhawks going into the series in Game 3, down 2-0 after the first 2 periods inside Bridgestone Arena. Some in the fan base, yours truly, I will admit, at that moment in time, worried that this might be the moment where the Chicago Blackhawks remembered that they were the Chicago Blackhawks and reverted back into championship form, winning the game, possibly, and winning the series. But as we all remember, that year's Preds team was special and was determined not to let that happen. On the back of a 2-goal third period performance by Filip Forsberg, a 34 save performance by Pekka Rinne for the game as a whole, Kevin Fiala would score the overtime winner as the Preds all but had the Chicago Blackhawks down for the count and would finalize their demise 2 nights later as the Preds would finish off the sweep. With the thrilling way that game ended, Preds fans can be forgiven if they forget that it was this game, while being down 2-0, where Pekka Rinne would make the diving save from behind his net after the puck took a lucky bounce off the sideboard during a Blackhawks penalty clear. Number 4. November 3rd, 2012, Pekka Rinne's 30th birthday. After signing a 7-year, $49 million extension with the Preds, Pekka Rinne would help the Preds to defeat the Phoenix Coyotes, as they were called then, 3-0, as he would make again 35 saves in that game. The contract extension, no trade clause, no move clause included in it, would all but ensure that Pekka Rinne would one day retire as a member of the Nashville Predators. Number 3. June 3rd, 2017. Again, it's eerie how numbers work sometimes. In the first ever Stanley Cup final game to be played on Bridgestone Arena ice, coming home down 2-0 in the Stanley Cup Finals that year versus the Pittsburgh Penguins, cheered on by their Preds faithful, the team was determined not to fall down 3-0 in that series. Down 1-0 after the first period, the Preds would rally with a 3-goal second period, winning the game 5-1. Pekka Rinne making 27 saves in the performance, his 35th career playoff win to that point. Notice a pattern here, as the Preds team got to show to the whole world watching that Nashville, Tennessee was indeed a hockey town. Number 2. There is a major reason why I have waited this long to mention this game and the importance that it had on Pekka Rinne's career and the Preds franchise as a whole. April 27th, 2016, Honda Center, Anaheim, California. The Preds in this playoff series that spring started off with a 2-0 series lead, then trailed 3-2 after the next 3 games, heading into Game 6 back in Bridgestone, which they rallied to win and force their first ever franchise Game 7. Pekka Rinne would make 14 third period saves, 36 for the game as a whole, as the Preds won that game 2-1. One could very well argue that if the Preds had not won that Game 7, besides the Weber trade, the Preds team that year, the roster, could have went through a major overhaul. So if it wasn't for Pekka Rinne backstopping this team to its first ever Game 7 victory that came on the road, I don't think the 2017 Stanley Cup final run happens. Honorable mentions. Game 5 and 6 versus Anaheim in 2011. Pekka Rinne making 81 saves in 2 road games in Detroit as the Preds go on to beat Big Brother in 5 games in their first round playoff series in 2012. And finally, January 9th, 2020, Pekka Rinne's first NHL goal. Number 1. May 22nd, 2017. Bridgestone Arena, Nashville, Tennessee, Game 6 of the Western Conference Finals. Facing off against the Anaheim Ducks, their second biggest foe in franchise history after the Chicago Blackhawks for the 3rd time that decade. No Kevin Fiala, no Ryan Johansson, who were both out for the playoffs due to injuries. Nobody would have blamed this team if they had just bowed out gracefully after losing Ryan Johansson after Game 4. But this team turned inward, rallied around each other, and showed us that they were indeed something special. Even after blowing a 3-1 lead in the game, before this game could get a lick close to overtime, Colton Sissons would help and score a hat trick, and Pekka Rinne would make 38 saves in the game as the Preds defeated the Anaheim Ducks in Game 6, 6-3, as the Preds would clinch their first ever Western Conference title. So there you have it, my top 10 list of the best Pekka Rinne games of his career. I hope you've enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed making it. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. As always, click like if you liked this video. Click subscribe, as always, if you really liked it and don't want to miss out on any amazing content we put out here at Predemption. You can find my social media by clicking on a channel name. And in closing, once again, happy birthday, Pekka.